Scott Manley, and this is the first part of my introduction to EVE from a player's point of view. Now, you may have heard all the grand stories about giant battles, you know, tens of thousands of dollars being destroyed in individual battles, but the EVE Online is a sandbox MMO. It is not pay to win, it is pay to play. It is one of the only pay-to-play games still out there. It costs about $15 to $20 a month, depending upon how you buy it. It may be even cheaper, actually. But you can get a free trial by going to their website, or there is a link below which will give you 21 days of free trial, which is more than normal. If you follow the link in the description and you end up ultimately signing up, you can come to me and ask for a reward, because I'll get some cash and you can get some in-game cash in response. Anyway, this is the start screen. It basically shows you the universe, the map, laid out, and the four main races that lay hold over it. So if you click on them, there's like little videos.
The AMARR Empire is the largest and oldest of the four empires. Ruled by a mighty empress, AMARR is a theocratic society capable of selfless acts and unspeakable evil, all in the name of their god.
So yeah, if you want to be a religious zealot, you be an AMARRian. The GALLENTE are freedom-loving party people that are of European descent generally. CALDARI are just all about profit. They are, you know, absolute capitalist, you know, completely. They have a kind of Japanese thing going on about them. And then the Minmatar are former slaves of the AMARR, who have since, you know, established themselves. They've rebelled and they've taken up their own empire. I'm going to go Minmatar because, I don't know, it's a good place to start, I guess. They have a lot of interesting ships. They cover a lot of different weapons designs. So once you pick that, you pick three, whatever bloodline you like. You have Caucasian, Asian of some sort, or African, basically. Yeah, so I'm just going to go with... I mean, this is me, I'm white, so I'm going to do this, and I'll be a dude. Although there's a lot of people that play this game as female characters, even though they are in fact male. It's surprisingly common. None of this that I'm doing matters in any serious way at this point, so what I'm going to do is more or less just randomize. Oh, randomize. Okay, he's got a goatee. He looks a little... Okay, I don't quite like that complexion. He looks a little shifty. He looks a little Steve Buscemi there. Maybe that'll work. Let's muck around with his hair. Oh my god, no. Nope. Oh, that's more like me, except for the beard. Maybe I can get rid of the beard. I don't want a beard. X kills the beard, right? Yes, aha, there, that looks a little more like me. Wearing, I don't know, whatever. So you can, yeah, okay, I'll take that. Well, I don't really care too much. You also can have, like, you know, tattoos and stuff like that. Oh, whoa, wow, yes. Tattoos. I don't think I want that one. I'm gonna kill that one. You can add scarring or piercings. You know, you can spend forever modifying this if you like. It's one of the best things about them is their character technology, but you don't actually get to see very much of the characters. In fact, most people turn off the characters. Okay, yeah, he looks like he's spent far too much time indoors, which is actually hugely appropriate. Again, background, random. Oh, look, I've got the green screen background. Yeah, I'll do that one. And so we have, it tells you your ancestry. These can change your starting station, these ones. Doesn't matter a huge amount, but you know, if you like the flavor text, you can pick that. He'll be a rebel for going to Pator Tech School, and his name will be... what can we pick up a name? We're gonna call him Zig and randomize his family name. Fildard. Check availability. Yes, it's there. Finalize. And so this is it. We are gonna go in with this guy. We can change his clothes. We can change his hairstyle and stuff. We can't change the shape of his face after this point without occasional changes. Okay, so first thing that you do is you log in, and it starts up this little tutorial in the bottom right corner. Now, you can read through this. This is Aura, the Ion Instructional Aid. I obviously seem to have started out in the hangar. Now, you can actually click on this button. This is probably because I had previous installation. Obviously, I play this a lot without new characters. I think most new characters actually start in the captain's quarters, and the captain's quarters take forever to load. They are cutting-edge character technology. At least they were a couple of years ago. And this is me in my captain's quarters. Actually, this is me at the head of my captain's quarters. This is, these people are dignified. They are immortals. They have cloned their bodies and then they plug themselves into spaceships. They are essentially immortal. Therefore, they are not going to be seen running around their captain's quarters. No siree. Now let's go down here and take a look. And we can sit on the chair. There, look, we sit down. And it tells us there's an incursion going on, and that's all very interesting. Well, never mind. If you find this is too slow, you can click the blue one. It'll take you back to the ship hangar. This is standard. Anyway, you have the tutorial here. This basic tutorial early on is very, very, very simple. And it's mostly just to get used to the controls. So, it tells you about the Rookie help channel and everything, and then it talks about requesting a mission from an agent. I am actually going to skip forward in this tutorial. If you go up to the top left, you can see your character, and if you click on that, it brings up the character window. Down the side here, you actually have all these different windows that let you control things. Also, if you click on this top one, there's a hierarchical menu with a few things in here that aren't on the side one. You can actually grab these and drag these down. For example, if you believe that you want to have your fleet information on here, just drag it down. The reason I was going to the character portrait is because the first thing you see here is your list of skills. Now, the thing about Eve is your skills are going to be trained in real time. Even when you're not logged in, you are training any skills you have set up. Therefore, it is important to always be training skills. So click on Open Training Queue, and I would suggest starting out training Minmatar Frigate. It is already at level 2, so train it to level 3, and then set it up to train to level 4. This will help you unlock bigger and better and more expensive ships. Okay, so here we go. So anyway, how to request a mission from an agent. We're going to click on the agent tab here. You see that it's under here. Aura is the agent, that the one we're going to talk to. So click on this, or double click, or click the little icon. And click next. When you speak to an agent, they will offer you a mission. You see this? It tells you covering the basics. Hello, Sigfidard. At the moment, all you have to fly is a capsule. Our first priority is to get you into a starship. Your assignment, follow the tutorial steps. I will guide you to a hidden location in space. If you ever get lost, remember to use the back and next button to read the tutorial. Blah, blah, blah. Point is, we're going to fly out into space and get a spaceship. So I'm going to accept the mission, right? And it says close the window. Obviously, there's a mission journal here. You see that? This is your mission journal. And you can, of course, go in and see the missions you've got going on. How very useful. Covering the basics, etc. Also, it tells you that I will get a shield operations skill book. So let's close all these. And then we're going to undock, it says. So, undock. So I stand up first, and you see it's animating. This is me getting ready to undock. There is no, like, running to the capsule animation, because apparently that would be a really long way away, and now I am in space. So, this is the pinnacle of Eve technology. There is no spacecraft you will fly in Eve which is more high-tech than the pod. There is also no spacecraft which is more vulnerable than the pod. This is something essentially the size of an escape capsule. It's tiny. It contains a bath of goo and neural interfaces. You are suspended inside this thing. It is a gift from the Jovian race to its pilot. So it tells you can hold the left button and drag to rotate the camera, and you can zoom in and out with the middle mouse button. You can also hold the right button and pan the camera without moving without rotating. So anyway, the other thing to do is look at the overview. The overview is very important. This is where actually a large part of the gameplay is going to focus. The overview is essentially your scanner. It tells you what objects are nearby and what things you can target. Now, the things to see here is this square is the station, which is I'm on top of. These green things right now, these little corners, you see, these are spacecraft from other people. If you look, this is like a square with just the corners defined. It's green because they are in my own corporation, but it's an NPC corporation. Finally, the last thing that's visible right now is this these stargates. There's 3 stargates in this system, right? So we're going to go to these eventually, but not right now. Okay, inspecting items. Of course, you can, again, click on this, press I, and you can see... If I click on the eye icon up in this tracking menu, I can see people here. This dude is Armus Ojiko. He is 3 days old and he still hasn't left the newbie station. That's not a good sign. It also tells you about his spacecraft. You can see this. This is a Reaper, which looks a darn sight more impressive than my capsule at this time. However, it is pretty darn terrible. It's the worst ship you can get that isn't a capsule. Oh, actually, that's not true. There are also shuttles. Now, this one and the other, this dude has a mammoth. This mammoth is quite a big spacecraft, and we could probably have gone towards it, but never mind. So that is a cargo ship. It tells you that it gets cargo ship bonuses, and in fact, this is going to change in the next release. So that's how they inspected items. How to identify objects in space, an overview by their icon, and it tells you, yes. Broken squares are ships flown by other pilots. Crosses... Why did I warp? Oh, that dude warped off. That was the other dude. Crosses are those ships not flown by capsuleers, i.e. NPCs. And stations are squares. How useful. Now you've mastered the basic camera controls, you can use the warp drive to travel to the missions. So, there's different ways to do this. One is they can go to the journal and go to the missions. And right click on this. Wait a second. It says locate the agent missions in the upper left. Ah, they've changed things. Agent missions, there you go. So this is what happens. The game does get updated, and I haven't actually run missions in a long time. So up in the top left corner is a whole bunch of menus. You can turn these things on and off. That's my autopilot. That's agents. And this is the local system. You can tell that I'm in Ridenjorn. It's in the Maingathur sector of Metropolis region. I'm near Planet 6, Moon 2, and it's owned by the Minmatar Republic. Anyway, down here, agent missions, you can see them. So this mission has a bunch of options, but at the bottom it says encounter dead space, and we're going to warp to location. So we're initiating warp drive. So every spacecraft can travel around system at many times the speed of light. This is great. It gets you... this thing flies at roughly 3 AU per second, although it has to accelerate and slow down. And once you arrive at a region, it's called dead space. Dead space typically has rules on whether you can warp in or out of it to stop people warping to specific places. There is a warp or an acceleration gate here, but there is also this green Reaper right here. And so what it's going to tell, if we click to the next one, once you've landed at the mission location, the left mouse button is used for selecting things, pressing buttons, and the right button, very important, the right button is very important. Right-clicking on space gives you all sorts of options. Right-clicking on me gives me options. Right-clicking on targets gives you options. If you're never sure how to do something and you want to do something with it, try right-clicking. Anyway, we've done this, we've selected this Reaper. There is also the radial menu, right? So I can do this and hold on it, and there's this radial menu, so I can approach this target, or I can board ship, or I can orbit it, or there's other options, but and that's great. Yes, that's the radial menu. Boarding a ship in space. So yeah, we select the rookie ship and we board it. And that's us. We have now boarded our spacecraft. Now at least we have a spacecraft, so if we can do more amazing things. We actually have a cargo bay in this. So we're going to fly towards the acceleration gate. The acceleration gate is used to delimit areas for NPC missions. Basically, there are areas you can't go around. You can't warp straight past them. You have to use their targeted warps to reach their locations. So click on the gate, click on the warp button, which is the right icon up there. That's another option. Now we are in space. You will see a structure nearby. In it is what we need for the mission. So I'm going to click on this and we're going to approach it. So our spacecraft will now turn around and fly in space. EVE Online works on a 1 second tick. Now what this means is you can pretty much issue one movement command per second. And that's what you get back from everyone else. Now it will interpolate all these moves. As you're flying, it will appear to fly smoothly. But the game internally is, you know, updating the state based on these simple moves. And it knows what everybody's doing. So you're not going to have direct joystick control. So next we've started to approach the structure. Now we can access things. So it says use the radial menu, or you can just use this button, open cargo. I do it the old way a lot of the times. Now if you look in the cargo, what you have is an inventory window here. Now the inventory window shows everything within range. Now you have my ship, in which there's nothing on it, there's a drone bay. And then there's this Minmatar cargo rig, which contains this tribal sponsorship document. So I'm going to take that and put it into my spacecraft by dragging it. And that's it there. I now have it in my spacecraft. It's going to tell us all about that. Docking with the home station. So now we have completed our first mission. We've proved that we can fly a spacecraft. So we're going to warp home. So you can use the radial menu again. Hold on this, radial. The top one, the best one's usually at the top. Or again, you can warp in here. And being old school, I tend to use that warp button. So let's take a look at this document that I've just picked up, right? It says, tribal sponsorship is a long-standing tradition within the Minmatar Republic. Typically, sponsorship is sought by an individual before embarking on a journey away from their tribe, or as part of a corporation's employment process. After sometimes lengthy approval process, a Minmatar is then able to proceed with the full support of their tribal peers. Typically, a citizen of the Republic will seek sponsorship from only their family tribe, and this is usually sufficient to last their lifetime, barring any dramatic changes. In some rare circumstances, sponsorship is granted from all of the 7 tribes to particularly promising individuals. In the unique case of Capsuleers, the 7 tribes of the Republic have agreed to blanket issue sponsorship as an attempt to encourage loyalty and cooperation. So basically the tribes are now saying, okay, you're my Capsuleer, you're a Broseph, you gotta work for us, right? So we've warped back. So now we can complete the mission. So what we're going to do is open up Aura here, click on the top, start conversation, and it says we've completed the item, grab the item, complete mission! And so therefore I've now got this shield operations skill book. So now, I already mentioned about skills, and you'll see if I look at the training queue that this has progressed a little. There's a tiny, tiny sliver of blue here, but it's still going to take 7 hours and 7 minutes before this is complete. That's okay, you don't need to remain logged in for this entire time. So, I'm going to look at my inventory here. Yes. This is my spacecraft, this is the spacecraft here. And what else is going on here? Let's just close this. When you're ready to read about training. Okay, skills need to be trained to collect stuff. That's the inventory, sorry. I thought I'd clicked on that. Bizarre. So yeah, my spacecraft has it here. I'll just drag this into the ship hangar. Ship hangar is on the station. You can store all sorts of stuff on the station. And, item hangar. Yes. This is where the items are. So you have ship, well, space for ships and a space for items. Now you see I've got this new item here, show info. Shield operation. And it says skill not injected. This is skill at operating a spaceship shield systems, including the use of shield boosters and other basic shield modules. And it gives a 5% reduction in shield recharge time per skill level. So if I want to train this skill so I can get some shields on my spacecraft, or better shields, I can drag it in here. Now I've already got stuff training, so what I want to do is drag it in at the very front. Or if this is closed, right, if this window is not open, you can just right click on it and train now to level 1. And it'll tell me, do you really want to do this? And honestly, yes, you really want to do this. What it'll do is it'll pop it in at the front, and that means in 8 minutes I will now have a new skill trained. And I will have level 1 in that skill. Now, important thing to see here is this one I'm training to level 1 and it's going to take me about less than 10 minutes. This one is training to level 3 and it's going to take 7 hours. And this one, training to level 4, is going to take over a day. 1 day, 17 hours, etc, etc. It's a long time that gets added to this. And the reason is basically that training each subsequent level takes roughly 4 times as long. Also, there's this little skill multiplier here that says 1x, 1 times means that that's a regular skill. 2x takes twice as long to learn. There are skills that go up to 16 times training, which means they take 16 times longer. So this is all telling you about training skills. And I've already explained all the important things. Always keep your skill queue full of something, because when you're logged out, you want this to continue training always and forever. Even if you're not playing the game, just keep training those skills. Anyway, it's telling me to talk to Aura again. She has offered me a new mission. When I complete this mission, I will get a small shield booster, which, I wonder, yes, if I look at this, prerequisites say that I need to know shield operation level 1. So I will be ready to train this, or ready to use this in about 7 minutes time. Anyway, we are going well so far. Zig, fighter, your next test will involve some basic combat training. Yay! When you're ready, you'll be provided with some modules to fit to your starship. Make sure to keep following the tutorial. I will explain how to fit the modules. Once you are fitted, you will fly out to a location in space to begin your combat training. So accept this mission. Very important. Do the tutorials. Yeah, I know this is seeming boring to people that want to get straight into things, but trust me, you really need to learn how to use these things. So, what do we do here? Fitting, open the fitting service. So, let's take a look at the fitting service. The fitting service shows you your spacecraft in the middle here, and you can admire it again. Around the outside, you have all these module slots, right? You have high-powered slots, or these are the ones which sit on the outside of your ship, and they're mostly used for weapons. The mid slots are used for things like engines, afterburners, shield generators. The low ones are used for things like structural modifications like armor and other things like that. So this one has 2 in each slot. They've improved this a whole lot more since I previously made a tutorial. All the newbie ships got an well, they got improved basically. So they have said you're now being given a weapon and a repair module. They will be placed inside your item hanger. So remember the item hanger on the inventory up here? Here we go. We have the items. So what I want to do, right, so click next when we found the items. You want to drag these into your ship, right? So you drag it and this one goes in the high slot. You can actually see on the icon here, there's a little triangle point, 3-pointed triangle here. That says it fits in the high one. This has 2, so that means it goes in the mid slot. So that's me got a gun and a shield booster. We actually have shields to start with. Undocking again. Let's undock. So we click on the undock button. It says you may notice activity in the local chat. And honestly, local chat is incredibly important. I'll just take a quick look here. Oh, look at this. This is clearly somebody creating a bunch of mining characters so that they can mine together. How boring. Local shows you everybody in the system and you can chat to them and say, "Hi, hello, it's Scott Manley here. Let's see if anybody notices. Yes, next one we've undocked. As before, agent missions panel to warp to the location. Select warp to the location. This is the really most basic tutorial. What we're going to do after this, and this is going to be a long episode, we're going to start doing proper missions later. So once again, we warp 3 AU per second. This is how you get around in system. You have 3 speed regimes. You have combat speeds, where you're basically traveling around a single location, and you can do that at, some spacecraft can go as like 5 kilometers per second. Most spacecraft can go a lot slower. You can actually hack them up to get up to like 23 kilometers per second if you spend a lot of money. Anyway, you can warp around from location to location using the... oh yeah, now we're in system. It says, this is my weapon module. Please load this weapon. So I should probably do that. So there's ammo in my hold, in my ship hold. So I can right click on it, on the weapon, and select EMPS. So it's loading that. Meanwhile, I shall warp through the gate.
Warp drive active.
Different types of ammunition will affect the range and damage of your weapon, which is very true, yes. You can see your current range and damage on the tooltip. So yeah, if you mouse over them, it'll tell you that the fall-off range is 4,400 meters and your optimal range is 400. So you have a 100% chance to hit anything that is not moving within your optimal range. And as you go into fall-off, then the spread increases and you have less chance of hitting. However, this fuel depot is right here. So this you see this giant fuel depot? We're going to shoot this thing. So let's target it. Now I know it looks big and full of fuel, and you might think it's a bad idea to shoot these things because they might explode, but, well, you'll find out. Would the game let us do something that was so hazardous to our health? There's the guns firing. Quite possibly the worst weapon in the game, but there it is. Explosion! Doing serious damage. Wow, look at that. That's quite a nice explosion. Good thing it had all that fuel in it, because the weapons are not that impressive. Once you destroyed the fuel depot, I'm going to cause your ship to take some damage. Look, we have taken some damage to our shield. We can mouse over these. Now, see this above on the heads-up display at the bottom? The top outermost ring is shield, so it's white, 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 and then red, red, red. That means we're missing. The next layer is armor. We have 150 armor, and below that we have structure. If you are in structure, you are in bad shape. Anyway, I'm going to cause your ship to take some damage. So we've blown up, we've taken some damage, and so now we can repair our shields. Actually, we can sit and watch our shields regenerate really slowly, or we can just hit this button and it will repair it for us. You see that? The module is cycling, and as it does so, it's actually taking energy from my capacitor. You see my capacitor is going down every time that thing loops. So this is a shield booster. If you show info on it, it tells you that it boosts my shield by 6 hit points every 3 seconds, right? And to do so, it takes 5 gigajoules. So, learning about shields and armor. Now, the shield booster is still running, even though my shield is completely healed. So you probably want to turn that off. You can also have modules which repair armor. Anyway, I'm going to fly towards this gate because that's where we're going towards. The next area, you'll be attacked by hostile ships with red crosses. So we'll have some cross-red pilots here to shoot. I'm hoping this isn't saying anything about attacking the red cross. Activate the acceleration gate. I shall. Ooh! I've completed my training skill. My skill training. That's activated. And so now that's complete. I can click on this and you'll see that I have a log showing me the skill has completed. And you can actually see my queue is still trading these other skills. This is why you should always have things set up to train. You can only queue up stuff for 24 hours ahead. Now, the Rogue Saboteur is a bad guy. Oh, I got to destroy these. So, yeah, select the target, right? Click on it in space, or click on it in the overview. Honestly, you're going to be selecting most things from the overview unless you have a particular thing you want to do in space. So I'm going to lock the target, right, by clicking this, and I'm just going to fly towards it. Now, if you remember, this thing said it has a range of 400 plus 4,400. We don't want to fire until you're too close. So there we go now. We're shooting at it. And you see it dying very, very quickly. It looks like it's in a rifter, but there's no way a rifter would be that terrible compared to this. Also note the wreck that is left behind. We should add those to the overview at some point. But there's nothing here right now. So I'm going to go towards this dude. He has targeted me, and I have automatically targeted him back. So I'm shooting now. This is combat against NPCs. Don't worry, it gets far better, especially when you actually get into PvP. But right now we're just shooting this dude, and you can see his shields and armor and structure getting destroyed. And that's us! Excellent! Next, when we've destroyed both enemies. So we can mouse out as well. And you can see the two wrecks. That's wreck 1. I'll zoom in now. There's the remains of that spacecraft that was once great, but then I dealt it a fatal blow. Okay, so we're gonna dock at the station. Actually, I'm skipping ahead in the tutorial. So I want to dock back at the station, and then we're gonna update all sorts of stuff on this spacecraft. And Lucky is coming up here and asking why he can't get help. Also notice, up here, we now have this log off timer here, this yellow timer. This basically says because I've been fighting, I can't log off and disappear from space quickly. I have to wait 5 minutes before I will disappear from space. This is essentially, in a multiplayer game, they don't want you escaping combat just by logging out. So you will stay in space for this amount of time. And if you take hostile actions, you will stay in space longer. We'll see more about that later, but you'll hear about timer management as a big thing later on. Anyway, I'm going to complete the mission, and I'm going to pick up the doggy, who is whining and wants to get some love. Say hi, Lucky. So I now have this better shield booster, and since I have two slots, I can probably just put them both in. There we go, look at that. We have 2 shield boosters. This one is better than the other one. They look the same. This one gives 6 bonus per 3 seconds, and this one gives 26 every 2 seconds. It also uses a bit more power, but that's fine. It says remove the old one and fit the new one, but we don't actually need to do this. And this is all telling you about finding your skills, which I've explained correctly. And this one actually tells you to train your frigate skills. However, if you'd followed my instructions, you would already be training them and therefore well on your way, or a few steps on your way, to getting better skills. So, now, the skill you started will take around 7 hours, etc, etc. We'll add to queue. Now, we are going to go to another solar system, right? This is telling us how to do this, right? So we're going to request the mission, and it says we're going to go to a station called Arlec, right? Or another system called Arlec. So what I'm going to do is click on this. You can see the station, the system. You can see the planets and all these other things. Most of the names are procedurally generated. If you want to go to the specific location within a mission, right-click on it and set destination. Now, you'll see up here under the A, there is now a route, an autopilot route, 1 jump. So that's us. We're going to go bring these items. So I am going to accept this, and we are going to get going. Next, find the first Stargate on your route. Jumping through Stargates. Okay, so undock. You see, I keep going down to the bottom left corner. You're going to keep seeing me moving down to the bottom left corner with the mouse, because that's where the undock button used to be, and I still have a lot of muscle memory that puts it in that location. So I've selected the Stargate, which is yellow here, Arlec, and I've clicked warp to the gate. So you see now we're going to warp and we're going to skim through this planet, but because we're warping, we're actually kind of skipping through some sort of weird sub-space-time thing, which means it's okay to actually warp at many times the speed of light through planets. You won't die, don't worry. We've reached the target, we click this to jump, and we're going to jump through and watch these awesome jump animations. There we go. Wow, that was fast. Normally it's not nearly as quick as that. Okay, so now we're at a different a different system. Not much has changed. There's different stargates, different stations here, you see. So I go to the mission that I've started, and I warp to the location. If you don't have a mission there, you didn't accept it. You've got to make sure you accept the mission. Also note that I'm transparent right now and just coming out. Because of multiplayer issues, because it can take an indeterminate amount of time to land in another solar system, you are invulnerable and invisible for 30 seconds after jumping through a gate, after you land on the other side. This can make the difference between life or death, right? You sometimes need to wait for bad guys to get to the right position before you try to warp off, or sometimes you just need to organize some tactics with your friends to figure out how you're going to deal with all the hostiles. Okay, next, when we arrive at the mission, you have arrived at the academy. You should go and retrieve your pilot certificate. So, you see it has it highlighted here. So click on the overview, and we'll click on the box to open cargo. By clicking on open cargo, we will actually just fly towards it. We won't open it until we are within 2.5 kilometers. Which means it must be a very big box. So it says next. We're going to get it. We're going to grab this. Now there is pilot certification. I'm going to drag that into my Reaper. And that's it. We have our pilot certification. Now it also says you can look at other spacecraft here, and we should. Let's click on some of the other spacecraft and click on the look button. So this is a Celestis, that is a Gallente spacecraft. They're just showing you a few different things. This is a Caldari. This is a Kestrel, which is a Caldari missile ship. This is a Caldari Raven, which is a missile battleship. Gallente Federation. What is this? Oh, it's a civilian shuttle. Yes, civilian shuttle. Shuttles basically have no weapons. This is an AMARR. This is a logistics cruiser, which basically in other MMOs would be considered a healer. Its job is to repair other spacecraft. Another one of these. Minmatar Rupture. Rupture is a cruiser-sized spacecraft. It's a combat ship. And this is a Bellicose, which is a Minmatar electronic warfare spacecraft. This is an AMARR cruiser, etc. Another Kestrel. Bestower. This one is basically a hauler. It's a giant space truck for carrying stuff around. So anyway, that's how you look at these things. And if you want to look back at your own spaceship, you can either click the X to stop looking, reset camera, or you can right click on your own ship heads-up display, and you can look at yourself. You see? Wow, look, there's a whole lot of spacecraft down there that we haven't actually seen. They don't have icons. These are just ones that are flying around. So it's actually kind of an interesting time to look at these things. What we have here at the front... let's see, I'm double clicking in space to fly around. And at the front you have all the frigates. Now frigates are the smallest combat spacecraft in the game. The next row you have are, well, the next size up are destroyers, but I'm not sure if there's any destroyers here. It's hard to tell because of the camera angle. No, these are cruisers. The next size up is cruisers. Then there's battle cruisers. There must be destroyers somewhere. You know what? I'm gonna hold control and space, and you will stop. Right? Let's just see if we can zoom in and see these things. Nope. So look, we have. These are the Reapers, these are the Slashers, Probes, Vigils, Rifters, and then Breachers, right? Then yeah, we don't have destroyers here by the looks of things. So the next size up is destroyers, then the next size from that is cruisers. Then, oh wait, there's a Thrasher. Why are they not between these? Okay, Thrashers are destroyers, so the next size up is a destroyer, and there's another destroyer that's not shown here. Then above cruisers you have battle cruisers. Then you have battleships, and also shown here are some haulers and a freighter. A freighter is a really big ship. But haulers are much, much smaller. Anyway, look, we're going to go next. We can do find more using show info elsewhere in the interface. Now, we need to get home, right? So if we open up our mission journal, we can take a look at the mission, and it says the drop-off location is this here. So I can set destination, and if you see how it has turned the jump gate yellow, you can actually just click A, and that will autopilot me all the way there, right? But it's not as efficient to use autopilot. So first of all, autopilot takes a moment to think about what it's doing.
Warp drive active.
But it will only warp to within 15 kilometers of the target. So once we land, well, there we flew neatly through that spacecraft there. Where am I? There we go. Yes, this spacecraft may look impressive, but it's actually terrible. Good thing to know is that if you dock in any station with just a pod and you do not have any spacecraft in the station, you will get given one of these for free every time. So you have an unlimited supply of these to lose in combat. This is good if you want to join something like Red vs. Blue and just get some combat experience. They run regular newbie ship wings so that you can learn to fly and shoot things for fun. So here we're going to approach Stargate with some tedious speed. Down the bottom, actually, that's another thing to see, is the speed indicator. It shows you your velocity. Now you can change the speed by clicking on this, but this will of course break autopilot. We don't need to worry about that. 380, 390, I think this will get 392 is actually what this thing will manage. It the Minmatar the Minmatar Reaper is actually one of the fastest newbie ships in the game, so don't worry too much about... Well, don't worry if your other spacecraft that you get are slower. If you've gone CALDARI, then you'll find that you're not going to be going nearly as quickly. So anyway, yeah, it continues to go autopilot along every step of this, right? You will continue to fly, but you will only fly within 15 kilometers. Now, this is fine if you're traveling across the galaxy and you don't have anything sensitive in your cargo hold, but one of the things you see people doing is loading up all their possessions into a single hauler and then letting this autopilot say to Jita. And then they realized that their hauler was worth 50 million ISK, and so somebody decided to roll up a couple of spacecraft and blow it out of the sky so they could steal the cargo. This happens. Even if you're only traveling in secure space, it is possible to kill spacecraft. Not without consequence, but you can kill any spacecraft in the game if you bring enough firepower. What then happens is the police come and kill you, but then that doesn't stop your friends from looting the wreckage. So that's called suicide ganking, and you should be aware of it, that you're not safe. You're not 100% safe anywhere. You just have to make sure you're not giving people a reason to attack you. So let's go. And once again, we need to figure out how to get to our destination, and that, of course, the answer is in the mission description. We're setting a destination from the mission journal, blah, blah, blah. Okay, skip over that. Using jump and talk, we're not going to... Learning about career paths, this is very important. So we're going to talk to her. Again, we're going to complete the mission. Complete the mission, yay. Moving onwards. So request this mission. So this one is now a courier mission. What I have to do is go from Ridgenjorn to Embod and carry these clearance papers. So I'm going to accept this just now. And in fact, I'm not going to be coming back here, so I'm going to drag everything into my spacecraft. It's very important that you put everything into your spacecraft, because you're not going to be coming back here in this case, seriously. The tribal sponsorship is kind of just a, it's not that interesting. Everybody gets one, but you might find some sentimental value to it. So obviously it says select the next mission. It says, yeah, it explains everything I've just said. Now I'm going to set the destination here again. I'm going to right click on the name, Embod, set destination. You see it's 2 jumps out. Now we're not going to use autopilot for this one because it's going to take far too long. So it says use autopilot. I'm not going to use autopilot because it's far too long, right? So let's undock. And agent conversation. Let's close the agent conversation. Yes. So it says using the autopilot. This is the autopilot. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take longer. If you manually warp, you will save a lot of time. Autopilot leaves you very vulnerable when you get to a gate and you're flying towards it. Not that you have anything in this ship worth stealing. Nobody will attack you at this stage unless perhaps they realise that you're some internet famous person and they just want to get on the kill mail for lols. It does happen. Anyway, so what they're also telling you about is death. Death in the EVE universe is an interesting thing. If you're a capsuleer, then to become a capsuleer, they had to kill you before you even started playing. Yes, EVE has a reputation for being hard, but I bet you didn't know that they actually killed your character before you even started the game. Fortunately, you're reborn into a new body. You get your brain uploaded to a new clone. And if you die at any other later point, then you will be uploaded back into that clone. And this is important because, of course, it makes the game interesting. If you died and had permadeath, then it would not be that fun. Now, to die, you have to lose your spacecraft, and then you have to have your pod destroyed. Remember the pod that we had early on? That contains you. If your spacecraft just blows up, your pod will be fine. NPCs will never attack your pod unless they're bugged, in which case you can actually petition to get that back. But players will not hesitate. They will go for that pod kill mail because it's always fun to get an extra kill mail. If you die, then it tries to copy your brain, and you have to make sure that the target clone has enough room to fit all your skills in them. Now, if you look at the skills page, if you look here at the characters page, it says skill points 56,460. If you have a target clone that can't contain that many skill points, then some of them get left behind, and you lose skill points from the highest, the skill that has the most training on it. So when you're at a station, you want to make sure that you upgrade your clone. Now, you're never going to have to worry about 56,000 clone. The smallest clone they have is 900,000, I believe. But obviously, yeah, it actually tells you here, clone grade alpha, 900,000. But as you get more and more skill points, you have to spend money on upgrading your clone after every mission. Or not after every mission, after you get more points. So I've read about clones, learning about corporations. We can talk more about corporations later. We have reached the station. Let us talk to Aura. And complete the mission. Yay! Excellent, you've arrived. I'm relaying further instructions to you now. So we can read more about corporations, and I can talk more about skills. And we've completed the mission. So this is a career funnel. You can actually access this by hitting F12 and looking for career funnel. So there are 5 more agents, and they all give you a series of missions that explain about one particular area of the game. You have business, exploration, industry, military, and advanced military. Now you can do these in any order you like, and you can do them all. You do not find yourself stuck in one path just because you start it. In fact, you could do all of the missions simultaneously if you really want, but I would advise doing them in some sort of sane order. Exploration's kind of good for starting. Industry requires some skills. Business. Military, you can do the military missions starting straight out. But we'll do all those in the next episode, because I think I've done more than enough here and I should probably give it a little break. As I said, I advise doing all these missions. Not only do they teach you the game, but they will give you a whole bunch of free loot, and these missions are far more rewarding than regular missions. So it's actually good to just do all these because it gives you a nice leg up into the game, so to speak. Anyway, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.